should I leave you?
Oh, you could say if you want.
Okay, so
Yeah.
state your name.
Catherine Kilday.
Okay, and are you a Concord resident?
Yes.
And how long have you lived here?
Since 2011.
Okay,
So,
and
yeah.
when and where were you born?
In Boston, Massachusetts, 1961.
Okay, and did you grow up in Boston?
I did.
Okay, and what was it like growing up there?
Interesting. There was a lot of racial tension going on, and that was during the time of forced segregated busing or forced segregation. And so they took kids from, so somebody had decided, so this was probably like mid-70s.
Mm-hmm.
So someone had decided that there was too much segregation, too much separation. You know, the white folks were living over here and the black folks were living over here. So that's primarily the two groups they were trying to bring together. So they forced families like to let their kids go to a whole different school. So their bus picked them up in their neighborhood, drove them all the way to the other side of town. So if they were white kids, they went to black schools, and if they were black kids, they went to white schools.
Well, that's fascinating. Just to increase.
Forced in Boston.
So they kind of still do that a little. Not, yeah, they do. They still
do
do that
they?
because I went to Lexington.
Okay.
This is 20 years ago, and they were busing kids from Boston. I think partially so Lexington would have like a more diverse
Interesting.
population, and two, so they could get a better education.
Right. And I don't know if that might have been the kind of philosophy behind it, right? Would this be a better education for the African American kids?
Yeah, and just integrating
I'm
after
not
a huge
sure.
history of segregation too may have been it.
Right.
Yeah.
But then it wasn't necessarily, I think, about quality of education
As much about
just that people need to have diversity.
Yeah.
But the families really pushed back against it, so there's a lot of violence.
Oh.
That was the
Lot of
Metco
violence.
project.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Metco
Is that what it's
project?
called?
I'm
Metco?
not sure.
Yeah, because I think that there's
That is the program.
Yeah.
Okay.
My father taught for 35 years in Massachusetts, and he still has kids that are Metco kids that are in Marblehead. So, yeah.
Wow.
That's amazing. To think
But
that's
there
still
was,
going on.
and so it's interesting, right?
It's like a lottery.
And it's interesting to be somebody on the outside looking in than it was to experience it as a kid, because I didn't know any of that.
Yeah.
Whether they didn't explain it to us or it wasn't a choice. I ended up going to a school where you had to take a test to get in, and there was a lot of diversity there. I mean, they were working on their own affirmative action policies, right? But like there was certain quotas and stuff that I think for minority kids, their grade requirements or scores on these tests were a little lower than the more advantaged kids.
Yeah, privileged kids because of
Privilege, yeah. So anyway, so I had diversity in my school, and that was all fine. But they actually changed, because of the violence, they changed our start time. We had to start school a little earlier,
Oh.
so that we would already be settled in by the time, like, the school across the street or other schools in the neighborhood started. Because they didn't want us to kind of bump into each other because of the violence, right? And there was one time where they actually locked us in, so it was a little, what do you call it?
A lockdown? Yeah.
Because the violence was just out in the streets. It was just like a moving riot.
I can't
So
imagine.
they locked all the doors. What's happening? This is too weird, right? Yeah. There was another time where I had no fear, like I said, because I think there was diversity in my school. I was oblivious.
Yeah.
Right? So I had friends, we had friends who came to visit us on the other side of Boston, right? Taking public transportation, so they were afraid to go home. You know, it's in these little neighborhoods, you have all this, there's sort of a sense of like, you don't belong around here, or something, right? So they were nervous. So we took them into Boston and then put them on their train to go to the other, like the north side of the city or something. And so we're just standing in the train station waiting, my sister and I, and we were jumped, by angry kids. And we were just sort of, just wanted to start a fight, right? And we were outnumbered, and the interesting thing was, so on the train, you know, they're saying mean things to us or whatever. I was the older than my sister. So I opened up my mouth and just said, you know, would you leave us the F alone? Like, that's all I was saying, right? As soon as I said that, the fists and the kicking started. This is riding on the train. So they jumped up, all I can remember is somebody jumping up on the loops, and then feet coming at my face.
Oh my god.
And the amazing thing about the the crowd mentality was that I'd say like maybe 8 stops later, it was an all-out riot with just, you know, what had started between like 5 girls and 2 girls, obviously from different parts of town, right? It was a full-out riot. And
Oh my god, how old were you?
I think I was 14.
14.
So my sister was 12.
Oh my god.
And so we get to the very end of the train station, you know, very end of the line, and the train conductor comes down, and like he was nowhere around before that. You know, well, obviously, I guess he was driving the train.
Yeah.
So he couldn't have been, right? But then he comes down and says, you know, you guys should file a complaint or something. I was like, no, I was still angry. I was still like adrenaline. You know, like, okay. I said, no, I don't want to file a report. I just want to go home or something. I was just so upset. So he said, well, at least go in the bathroom and wash up. And I looked in the bathroom, covered with like dirt and blood. My hair was like all over the place. And we stayed out of school for a couple of days. A lot of bruises and stuff. Yeah.
Oh my god.
And the funny thing is, though, that I had 2 other siblings, and they became more fearful, you know, of like other kids and other races and other, right?
Yeah.
I would say more prejudice, but in like just like fear. And my sister Carol and I were like, whatever. Like, all right, next time I'm on a train, I'll just bring a book. Like I didn't think it was a big deal at the time. I just knew that it was tension. It was a lot. That's like that's how bad the tension was in the city.
It's like undiscussed
amongst peers, you know, of different neighborhoods, different races, different cultures. Yeah, so I didn't stop riding the train or anything. I just brought a book with me.
That's crazy.
Keep my head down. Don't look around. You know, don't
That's
talk
the
to
lesson
anybody.
I learned too. Put your earphones in, read a book,
Yeah.
mind your own business.
Yes, exactly.
Leave it
Let
alone.
people be people. Yeah, don't talk back.
Yeah.
I learned that.
After that.
Zip it.
It's the city rule, yeah.
Yeah. So that was kind of like a big event. So
Yeah.
that's kind of like what growing up was like.
Oh my god, that's insane.
Yeah, it was very concentrated neighborhoods and concentrated groups.
Okay.
Yeah.
So branching off that, where's your mom's family from?
Boston.
Boston.
Yeah, Somerville.
And your dad's family?
Same.
Same.
Yeah.
So do you know what your ethnicity is, where your ancestors were from?
Yeah, so like we did, so it's Irish and English.
Irish and English. Okay.
And then we did the 23andMe thing.
Right along the edge here, and we'll get started at the end of this song.
Is this like a dance thing?
A talent show, I guess. Yeah.
Oh, funny.
Something with dogs.
And it was, so 23andMe was like 99.5% Northern European. So I was disappointed.
Oh.
I wanted some darkness. I wanted some diversity, some richness thrown in. You know,
It's in your soul.
I wanted a little like, you know, mutts are the healthiest, right?
Yeah,
I wanted
yeah,
to be
no.
more different inside, yeah. But
Yeah. So
Oh, well.
have you ever been to any of the places that your ancestors from? Have you ever visited? Do you
No.
want to go visit at some point?
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have family in any of those areas?
no.
No.
It's funny too, I think with the whole Irish situation that there was that the British took advantage of them and just kind of like that whole imperialism just came in and like took their land, and the people who lived there became I forget what they called them. They were forced to farm their they were told what they would grow
Yeah.
and then send it back to England. And so like the only thing that they could keep were like the potatoes.
Yeah.
So, you know, the English didn't want the potatoes, whatever.
Guys, ready for
So then there was a
the
blight, and so it practically, so they had nothing to eat.
The 2-year-old
So I think there was like a
by the name
million
of Eva.
Irish that
She's just
died
getting started. Please
starving.
welcome my girl, Eva.
or left.
Uh huh.
And so there isn't a whole lot of, there's no connection to families.
Yeah.
You know, like you can't, it's hard to find your family over there.
Yeah, it's like broken apart after that entire trip.
Yeah.
Okay. And what brought you to Concord, New Hampshire?
Oh, a boyfriend.
A boyfriend?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. And then I met Lauren, I had wanted to change into, and then I wanted to change careers from environment into education.
Okay.
So,
Let's see if she can catch 2 in a
it
row.
was the job.
You were a tutor.
A tutor, yeah. So it was the job and a
Let's give
boyfriend.
her one more try.
So I wanted to be with a boyfriend that lived up here,
Go.
and then that job, I found that job.
Oh wow. Okay. So has anything about living in Concord surprised you, been different than what you were expecting, or has everything been kind of on par with your expectations?
I think the town is a lot more, or the city, I guess I should say, a lot more cohesive, a lot more of a neighborhood feel to it. And yoga.
Yeah.
It's amazing. The yoga community here is really strong, so that's been very helpful. Politics, gotten into politics, in particular politics around the environment.
Yeah. I think it's very politically active, the state.
Yeah.
It's very politically active.
Yeah.
So do you have any children?
No.
No. Okay. And what does the word family mean to you?
I think that's comfort, acceptance.
What do you guys think of Eva so far?
People that you can be with that accept you.
Now, I did
You can just
mention
be yourself.
Yeah,
Eva
comfort,
is just
acceptance,
getting
yeah.
started
So,
in the sport of frisbee.
despite all,
How many
whatever
of you folks have
hardships,
dogs
my
at home?
siblings are all close together.
Yeah.
A lot
That's
of hands.
That's
How many
Not
of you have dogs at
geographically,
home?
but
A lot of energy.
yeah, like connection, talking
Yeah.
to each other. Yeah, I feel like that's really. I don't know. I've talked to so many people, and that's not the case. Like some people are so distant. It's crazy to hear like the two different sides of the story. And your greatest
Now,
fear.
everything that Eva knows, we started nice and slow. She's done this over a period of months. Good girl.
I guess that I would,
Can you drop that, please?
that my life would come to an end
She's a
without
little obsessed.
making an impact,
Just a little bit.
and positive impact.
So to start, we get down nice and low.
I think that's probably my greatest fear.
Okay. And last question, your greatest hope.
Oh, that human beings become more open-minded and embrace change, whether that's environmental stuff or fiscal,
with a dog like this. Good girl.
being more open-minded about,
They're really interested in that piece of plastic. We aren't going to throw the
I guess,
frisbee
like
out there.
investing
We're gonna
their
put it
money
on the
in
side
our
and roll
society.
it.
So,
Yeah.
like taxes.
Dogs don't chase
I don't know.
birds,
Some
they
people
chase
might say
rabbits
that's
and squirrels.
socialist,
By
but
turning it on its side,
No, I
just
totally
feel
agree.
like,
It's not.
yeah.
You have to be willing to put it forward to get what you want. You can't
Yeah.
just request things and then not actually work for them.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Right.
Watch out, guys.
Yeah.
Show is in 3D.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank
that's,
you.
That's it. Okay. Thank.